It all started in Europe in 1914. The tension generated by international rivalries exploded into a general war. The spark that led to the explosion occurred in the Bosnian town of Sarajevo, where Serbian nationalists assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. Because of that, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and an intricate chain of alliances began to draw more of the great powers into the war. The conflict soon spread around the world, and two sides were formed. Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, the Central Powers, fought against Great Britain. France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan, and the United States, the Allied powers. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand was actually the trigger that set off the war from the underlying causes. Those causes were militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. Militarism created what we call the norm race out of competition and suspicion of neighboring nations. Germany tried to compete with Britain in a naval race by building more and more ships. Alliances were formed in order to check the balance of power between nations. During 1882, Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Italy formed the Triple Alliance. France, Russia, and Britain then reacted by creating the Triple Entente in 1907. Imperialism influenced another type of competition and disagreement. French and British empires caused discontentment to Germany as it tried to colonize parts of Africa. Nationalism created the feeling and thought that countries were better than others. It also promoted the anti-Austro-Hungarian sentiments in Serbia. And this is the beginning of the Great War, the massive war in human history.
There are many types of propaganda that were used during the World War I or the Great War. However, the most influential propaganda that was used is transferred propaganda, because it uses a respectful command pointed at the reader to make a young man feel responsibility and encouragement to be part of the army force. Another thing that the government and military used was film, as to create a stereotype that make people hate the enemy.
War Office, June 1917. Dear Sir, I am writing to inform you in relation to your liability to call up for national service that you are required in accordance with the provisions of the National Service Act to submit yourself to medical examination before a medical board.
Send this letter to Hadley House, otherwise you will be punished.
Yes, sir. I'm from the Home Fund office. The office has asked me to give you the letter. Is this Hadley family? Yeah. Congratulations, sir.
Do you really have to go?
I have to. I'm sorry.
Well, can you promise me one thing? Promise me that you will come back for me and for our daughter.
I promise.
You have to come back.
I have to go now.
May we meet again?
Maybe meet again.
Home Fund. Women, children, and some men work themselves out to support the war effort. They would grow crops, build weapons, collect pieces of metals or aluminiums, work in the security field, heal the injured and sick, and many other jobs that were necessary during the war. Many boys also train their physical strength in case of emergency. They live in fear, pressure, or even hope of victory. Once the war broke out, inevitably, lack of men compelled the nation to conscript. Thus, the law enforcement and young men passed adolescence, age equivalent of both 18
to be enlisted either for home front or reserve battalion. Most of the men with that patriotism and build masculinity, the opportunity had come for them to prove. Furthermore, the number of quota in some regions did not reach, forcing government to ask for volunteer groups. However, the enlistment had its own shady side. Enlistment of young boys aged below the requirement, those boys who seek for their own way of patriotism and escape from boredom, thought the war as an adventure. The officer closed one of their eyes and let this pass. They registered those boys anyway, so the boys with dreams and hopes to be a man in one day. Only a little did they know that it was going to change their life forever.
The Red Cross, or the Mercy Ship, is a small organization during 1914 that provides medical first aid and treatment to the injured regardless of the site. Afterward, the Red Cross expanded its communities as the war went on to reduce the casualties.
Food rationing. During World War I, much food was sent away to feed the soldiers who fought in the war. At that period, there was less food arriving from countries because most of the ships were attacked by the German U-boats. Food then was so expensive, and that caused people to be panicked, and soon there was such a long queue outside the shops. The government tried to encourage people to save their food, so soldiers would have more food to eat. In 1918, the new law set by the government introduced rationing. Rationing is a way to share food fairly. Sugar, meat, flour, milk, and butter were all rationed in order for people to get what they need. Moreover, each person, even King George and Queen Mary, has their special ration guards. However, the guard can only be used at certain jobs. People have to say which beggar, butcher, or grocer they would buy the food from. The rule was very strict. If anyone broke the rule, they could be fined or sent to prison. People were often hungry, so growing fruit and vegetables helped them to reduce their starvation. There was also supplies of produce like jams, pickles, and chutneys. The biggest change in women's life brought by the war were women moving into the work, taking jobs that men had left because they had to go to fight for the nation during the World War I or the Great War. Many women started to get jobs vacated by men who at the time went to war. Normally, women work as a housewife and have to stay home in order to take care of the house and children for their husband, who has a duty to go out working. World War I was responsible for leading the women to working in the areas of work that were actually reserved for men, like clerks, police, ticket collectors, and many more.
There was a group of women working in the Signal Corps, which they worked as telephone operators. For this job, they had to be fluent in both French and English. This group of women, most commonly known as the Hello Girls. The Hello Girls operated the telephone switchboard that allowed military commanders to understand and control what was happening.
Hatley, Miss Hatley,
Yes.
here is a letter for you. It is about your personal. The details is within the envelope.
Okay.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Oh God. Is he going to be safe out there? I hope he come back to me. He will be safe. He will be safe.
There was a report from the home front about the damages and soldiers because the war didn't really end and successfully as they thought. Spanish flu or swine flu caused curiosity to people during World War One. 45 million people died. Businesses and schools were shut down. Economics deteriorated and the military force was weakened. They believed that the influenza originated from Spain, since it was the first place where it reported the news.
Good morning, Miss Mary. I have a report about your personnel.
Good morning, Lieutenant. Is he doing fine in the battlefield?
It is that we are acquainted lately since you have moved into the camp.
Well, it's been good, Lieutenant. Spending time around here gives me such a tremendous joy.
I'm very relieved to hear that, but there was a report from the morning about your personnel.
Since it always served, will it devastate my dear little heart?
Ma'am, I'm so sorry to say that, but it might not be pleasant as you want to hear.
No. He promised me that he will come back.
I'm so sorry. I want to say something, but the commander of the military doesn't allow me to speak.
No, he said that he will come back for me and for our daughter. He said that. He said that before he go into that. Why didn't you protect him? He's your best friend.
I'm so sorry. I try my best, but I can't.
Saying sorry doesn't bring him back. Why didn't you promise? Why didn't you protect him in the battlefield? Why?
I'm so sorry. I try my best, but they doesn't allow me to go to the battlefield unhealthy.
What is that?
A report from the military office.
No, he say that he will come back. He say that he will be back, hug me and hug our daughters.
I'm so sorry. I have nothing to give but my solely condolences.
No, it's because of you. You didn't protect him. You're his best friend. Why you protect him? Why?
Because the military doesn't allow me.
No, you have a gun. He just my husband. He deserves to be gone.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Ma'am, you have to leave. The last word that he say to you is like, he loves you and he wants you to live happily with your family. I'm so sorry. I have to go now.